squawking at my dinner table.
Welcome to Wholesale Hotline, where we cover everything to do with wholesale real estate. I'm Jamil Damji.
I'm Brent Daniels.
And I am Pace Morby.
And together we cover the most important parts of wholesale real estate.
Lead generation.
Conversion of sellers into contracts.
And dispositions. Guys, remember when you're watching this show, do us a favor and squad up in the comments.
Make sure that you are liking and subscribing to the YouTube channels and in the Facebook group Wholesale Hotline.
Most important, we want to know we're doing a great job for you and helping you build your business. So go give us a review on iTunes and or Spotify.
So squad up and enjoy the show!
Here we go.
What's up?
Oh yes. Let's switch to that one. There we are. Welcome everybody to Wholesale Hotline number 85. 85. I just got to start it off by just telling everybody how wildly impressed I am by your guys' show, Triple Digit Flip, about the whole event that you guys put on this weekend on Saturday. It was inspiring. I told you, I started looking up houses in the Biltmore circle. Like Pace, I was like so pumped up seeing you guys and what you guys are doing and just the impact that you guys are having. I was like, I got to push. I got to go. It's inspiring.
Brother,
inspiring.
Dude, you are inspiring. In fact, you know, when we were up there, Pace had so vividly reminded me of just how much we owe to Mr. TTP. We love you, bro. Thank you for being there. Thank you for being in attendance.
I wore my TTP shirt today just to remind everybody how important TTP is, baby.
He's the shirt.
Well, I love it. And Pace, listen, 26 hours, bro. How's your voice? How's your body?
I feel like my voice box has been punched 100 times. Like I'm just, my
God.
voice is done. I made the point today, like to not talk, you know, it's been good.
This is like, so you're just like building that endurance. You're like an Iron Man of, you're like the 100-mile race of live content.
That, and here, look at the statement this makes.
Yeah.
The biggest night of our lives was the night prior, right? Yep. We do, you know, Pace left the premiere and then came to my mastermind.
I know.
And spoke for 2 hours with Cody Barton.
Yeah.
And hung out, and then we went and toured some properties together. He was with me another 4 or 5 hours after that.
Yeah.
Left me, went and hung out with more students, and then went home, slept for 3 hours, and then the statement made, guys, is what goalpost?
Yep. Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yep.
What TV show?
Yeah.
What do you mean? I'm here to serve. Let's get to it.
Listen, if you do not love this, there's no way you keep
You
going.
can't.
You can't. You got to love
it. Thank you for saying that. But it truly comes back to like our relationship with all three of each other.
Yep.
Right. The reason why we have any opportunity is because of how hard we worked together to get to where we're at. Right. We had Brent Daniels leading the charge. We worked incredibly hard. We served people. We took advantage of every opportunity we had. I'm not going to stop just because we got a TV show. Right. Like that's not the goal. The goal was never the TV show. The goal is what we're doing every single day. And so the TV show is just like a little cherry on top.
Yep.
You know,
I love it.
Very grateful.
Well, listen,
for where we're at.
So I am excited to be back on. Missed last week, was at the family mastermind. You guys did an unbelievable job. I want to make sure that we're really getting to some good questions so that we can really chop it up and give people incredible value and make sure. So guys, everybody out there, if you guys have any questions, if you're dealing with anything, if you have a question about any part of the wholesaling process or wealth building or real estate investing, bring it here, post it to the group. We want to know because we want to answer the questions and open up this dialogue so that there's no mystery in this business, so that everybody can go out there and be as successful as possible. So
can I ask the first question of the day, please?
What's that?
Can I ask the first question of the day?
Please.
Okay, so the reason why I did that 26-hour live yesterday was I really wanted to answer the question of how do I get started in real estate, right? So it's in like unbelievably challenging and intricate answer, because every person that asked that question has got to have a different, solution provided to them, because I can't just tell everybody, well, go download Batch Driven and start driving for dollars. I can't say that, because what if they're an attorney like Rylas Dana who has a full schedule and they're like, I want to get into real estate. Well, the answer to Rylas would be, well, then go start buying real estate, rentals for your portfolio. Or why don't you start doing, sending leads to wholesalers and have them, give you a kickback or whatever it is. Like, I'm going to give a completely different answer to somebody. And that is the most endlessly impossible question to answer in a generic format or a generic answer. So do you guys have a 1 to 4 sentence way of telling people how to get started in real estate? So Jamil, how do I get started in real estate? Brent Daniels, how do I get started in real estate?
Well, here's my thought process on it, right? We're always going to get to whatever destination we're looking for, regardless of how zigzaggy our route is.
Yeah.
And so I think the answer to that question is one step.
Yeah.
I think that wherever you are in your level of understanding, take the next step.
Yep.
Because you're going to get ricocheted into the right direction. If you have the right intention with the right action, you get to the right spot. So I feel that that's all that's required, is doing the one thing that you understand that's in front of you right now. Everybody has that.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody who's in this business right now, or looking at this business right now, or contemplating this business right now, or fantasizing about this business right now, has one understanding that's clear in front of them. That's the only one you have to work on. Do that.
Mm-hmm.
The next step will illuminate itself in front of you as you're taking action. I promise you.
Yep.
That's a great answer. Cody last night on the live, right after you had left, Jamil, he said, could you imagine driving in the dark and instead of looking directly in front of you as far as your like headlights will show, you're looking at, like, let's say you're driving from Arizona to New York. You're not looking 25 miles in the future. You're looking only as far as your headlights will allow you to see. And I don't know why it is with business, people that are thinking like so big and they're overthinking everything. Just look directly in front of you. That's how you get to your direction. That's how you go from Arizona to New York, is looking directly in front of you for those first 200 feet.
Yep.
That's what you're saying, right?
100%, man. It's the only way.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can, what analysis paralysis is a symptom of is thinking about step 2. And worrying about step 2.
Yep.
That's where everybody's going to get messed up. Forget step 2, because that's not your business right now. Your business right now is whatever you understand is step 1. And everyone knows what that is. You know it. You've been looking at something, you've been learning about something, you've gone down a rabbit hole, you have one understanding, whatever that one thing is, even if it's just coming to Compin, even if it's just coming on Wednesday and listening to him more, even if it's going to Sunday service and trying to figure out how to get a free house with creative financing, whatever the one thing is, do the one little thing, the one first little step. Second step will come.
Yeah. Well, listen, we become what we think about.
Always.
We become what we think about. So the first thing is, what baggage are you bringing to this? You know what I mean? What failures in the past are you bringing to this thing? And are you coming from an optimistic, like, I've failed before and succeeded and failed forward and was able to do it and I overcame that? Or are you holding on to the baggage of, well, I tried this and I tried that, and maybe I wanted to get going, but I just couldn't get it because something's stopping me. So the first thing is, do you have the faith that you can do it?
Oh yeah.
Because before it's fact, you have to have faith. You have to have faith that you believe that you can be successful. That's the first trick. That's the first thing we have to teach our minds to do, is have faith that what we are doing is going to work. It might not work today. It might not work tomorrow, but it will work. And that is you start with the faith, and then behind that, you match that with courage to actually go out there and do something without having your friends know what you're doing and your family have experience in it, or your groups, or you're the 5 people that you spend the most time with. They're not wholesaling real estate. They're not real estate investors. You're breaking the mold. You're born differently. Your brain is different. It's wired different. Your brain is wired different. All right. So with that, can you have the faith and the courage to, as you were saying, take sustainable action? It's about sustainable action. Sustainable. And sustainable is just that day. Just do something today. Even if it's 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 minutes, just do something that puts you one step forward. That's it.
It's so incredible because I think if you distill that down, Brent, he's saying it's starting in the mind.
That's it. Always.
It's in your mind and in your heart.
Always.
I think that's where people fail, is they get to the doing. And even me, I just said do the one thing, but you're right, Brent. It starts in the head and the heart. It's your mindset before all.
Okay, so let me ask another question then. Yeah. Let me ask another question. I'm brand new, right? I'm watching Wholesale Hotline. I haven't gotten a deal yet. I want to read maybe one book right now that will nudge me forward as a brand new beginner. So Jamil, I want you to recommend a book if you have a book about mindset, and Brent, if you have a book maybe about the basics of real estate. Is it negotiating? Like what am I looking for?
There you go. there's
tell me what these are.
There. Literally anything Earl Nightingale does. And what he did is he took this and he put it into like personal development. This is interesting. This is 1937. This is 1956 right here. This was actually signed by Diana, his wife, which is kind of interesting. But I wanted to bring this up. And the reason I had this is in order to fully enjoy prosperity and its accompanying sense of achievement, one needs to have known poverty and an environment in which daily survival is the purpose of life.
Wow.
Anybody out there feel that way?
Yeah.
Anybody
100%.
out there feel like you're just getting your head above water? Like you're just treading, like you're pushing right now, and you're pushing to fully enjoy prosperity. You have to know the other side of it. So guess what? God bless you. You win because you know what it feels like to feel that way. And
will
that's
you read that one more time, dude? That gave me chills. Can you read that one more time? That was really freaking good. Yes.
In order to fully enjoy prosperity and its accompanying sense of achievement, one needs to have known poverty and an environment in which daily survival is the purpose of life. Remember those things?
So what you're saying is what I'm feeling if I'm barely treading water is not failure. It's actually a requirement of success.
It's a requirement to fully realize the prosperity. It's listen, this is the greatest discovery. It's by Earl Nightingale. There's a ton of really incredible things. If you haven't watched The Strangest Secret on YouTube, don't do it now. I don't want to see the numbers go down. Watch it after the show. All right. But it's incredible. I mean, I'm just telling you, everything starts with our mind, and it's really interesting having kids and like trying to like talk to them about these things and the things that they're going through and the things that they're growing up with. And you're trying to plant seeds that it's what they become, what they think about. So who are you hanging out with? Who are you spending time with? It's the same as adults though. Who are you hanging out with? Who are you spending time with? You squat up. That's the whole point of the show. You squat up with people that have these similar brains. It is impossible for you to lose. Right?
1,000%. 1,000%. You can't. You absolutely can't, because that's where you are living in your mind and in your heart. It's gonna find you. It always will. The people, the circumstances, the opportunities.
Yep.
Jamil, what's your book?
My book is the original one.
Yeah.
Every self-development book I feel that I've ever read is a rewrite of this.
Right.
Walk me through that. What's it about?
Well, it's Napoleon Hill.
Yeah.
And he talks about, really, I think if you look at it from its purest form, he's talking about how to get yourself like energetically right for money to be in your life.
Right.
And so he brings in the concepts of meditation. He brings in the concepts of the mastermind.
Yep.
He brings up the concepts of really granular visualization. He brings up the concepts of living as if. thinking as if.
So he interviewed all the tycoons of the day,
Right.
Like all the people that show the men who built America.
Such a great show.
He interviewed. It is an incredible show. They actually did a really good job at that show.
They did.
But he interviewed all those people and wanted to see. And this was I think he took 10 or 15 or 20 or 25 years to put it all together and do it all. And he was just wondering, why are some people so wealthy in this country and other people aren't?
And what are the common traits?
And he boiled it down to, what is that? 4 words: think and grow rich, right? That's what it is. I mean, it comes from the mindset. It comes from that faith. It comes from visualization and the meditation and the energy. I mean, you talk about it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The vibration.
100%.
Right? Yeah, that's it. So a couple books there, and just listen. It starts with you believing that you can do it, and then from there, just find an ugly property and talk to the property owner, or talk to somebody that is representing the property owner of an ugly property, and that's it. That's it. That's where you start, and then from there, you just start building that up every single day. But I think when what you were saying, Pace, earlier was there's certain people are at certain levels.
Right.
First level is do your first deal. That's it. Next is replace your income so that you can do this full time. Watch your debts, right? Don't get too crazy, and then start buying assets, and then the cash flow of that is going to keep you financially free. So when you were talking about Rylas Dana as an attorney, he's not in this. He's in that replace the 9 to 5 if he wants to. But maybe he doesn't. Maybe he just wants to add on. Maybe he just wants to build up assets and buy assets so that at some point it takes over. It just depends on where you're at. Everybody's different. Everybody's in a different position, but you're in one of those. You know what I mean? One of those.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Kirsten,
what about
all
you,
the way
Pace?
from Florida. What about me?
What book would you think would be something that somebody would read for that?
My book is so strange, but it's my favorite book of all time. It is called My Side of the Mountain.
Right. Yeah.
And the book is all about a kid, coming from a family that basically was having constant strife and confliction inside of the household. And so this young kid goes, I need to leave. I can't be here. So he goes out into the wilderness. It's based on a true story of a kid. He lives in New York. Upstate New York. He leaves the house and he goes and lives in the wilderness. And through being resourceful, he figures out how to live on his own. And he, the first thing he does, he finds a tree, big, fat, thick tree, and he burns, he goes down to the bottom of it, and he burns out a hole inside the base of the tree, and he starts living in this tree. Then he figures out how to build a bow and arrow. He figures out how to, kill a deer and make skin. He lives through the winter. This is all a true story, by the way. And then once he figures out how to be resourceful, he then leaves the wilderness and he goes back into the regular world, right? He might have lived out there for 2 years or something. But what I loved about it was the thought of, I can do this because I'm resourceful. Mm-hmm. And there's no reason for me to have an excuse. I can be all by myself and I can figure this out by simply being resourceful. So for me, a lot of times I see people having a lack of success because they feel like somebody has to continually feed them information. And it's kind of like that thought process of, I lived inside my mom and dad's house. They told me exactly what to do my whole life. I then went to high school and my teachers told me what to do, where to be, how long to be there. The bell is telling me when to leave and also when to arrive, all of those things. Then I clock into a 9 to 5 job. I'm being told where to go, what to do, how to do it. And so when you actually have to go out and be resourceful, it's very challenging for a lot of people to go, why can't I be an entrepreneur? Again, though, it comes back to mindset. It's not even a real estate book. It's a mindset book of you need to be resourceful and you need to figure it out. And you need to challenge what you think is possible through a fun endeavor. And so I think a lot of things I resonate with Robert Allen more than any other real estate author because of the cool things he did in terms of challenging what's possible. It wasn't even the cool fact that it was like real estate stuff. It was like, by the way, did I ever tell you guys that one of my students bought me an original version of the challenge? And it was signed by Robert Allen at a book signing party 40 years ago. And they found an original, first print copy. And the challenge isn't even in print anymore. But I think of the challenge. And I look at a guy like Robert Allen where he went out and he goes, I'm going to do the Tom Kroll and the Brent Daniels method, which is I can't just take a horse to water. I'm going to force the water down the horse's mouth. And what he did is he went into St. Louis and he took 5 people out of the unemployment line. And he said, I'm going to challenge myself to make you all entrepreneurs in 90 days or less and have $5,000 sitting in your pocket. And you never, ever think about money ever again in 90 days. So somebody that was that resourceful that would go out and force 5 other people to be successful are the people that I look to and I go, what am I doing? How am I making a large enough impact? And those are the things that inspire me. The Tom Krolls of the world, the Brent Daniels of the world, right? The Robert Allens of the world that are doing things and impacting people and leading the charge. And so again, it goes back to my side of the mountain. How can I use my environment to be resourceful to create an impact is like all I think about every single day, whether it's real estate related or with my friends or whatever. What is immediately around me and how can I utilize it to be resourceful?
Do you think that ever goes away?
No.
Do you think that you always have it? Do you feel like at any time you get comfortable?
No. And I think, you know what's funny, Brent,
when Pace is like on his way out, he's going to be trying to figure out how to get out of bed.
Yeah, you know what's funny is I made a joke to somebody the other day. I said, you know, my final words on my deathbed, if somebody's going to lean down and just say, Pace, you know, I'm so sorry you're passing. Do you have any final words? And I'll say, do you know anybody that has a house they want to sell? And that'll be my final words, right? That'll be my final words. And the thing is, like, when you go back, Brent, to the quote in that book that you just talked about, in order to fully realize, success and prosperity, you have to understand where you came from, or you have to come from a position where you never felt that. I've been there.
Yeah.
In fact, when I met both of you guys, this is the funny thing is when I met both of you guys, it was from a position of absolute, like my face was in the dirt. And because I met you guys, both of you guys changed my life dramatically, that I owe my previous self the nonstop action every single day to prove my past self that I deserved and I'm worthy of what I'm currently doing. And so, no, it will never end. Like I felt what you just said in that book, that first quote.
Yeah.
Absolutely beyond true. And I wish I understood that, but I had to go through the valley of the shadow of death to truly figure it out in a weird way.
But how do you I think it's really important that you find something that you really love.
You have to
commit to it.
You have
know
to.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this Pace, you wouldn't be, I mean, you could do anything. I mean, you could, whatever, you could be the world's greatest firefighter or the world's greatest, whatever, you know what I mean? Like you chose this for a reason, or maybe it chose you. I don't know. You know what I mean? But I think it's really important to look inside and say, like, do I get excited about owning real estate?
Right.
Do I get excited about lending real estate? Do I get excited about finding deals? Do I get excited that, maybe I can provide $10, $15, $100,000 worth of value in like a 30-day period and get paid all that?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the money's cool. The money is fantastic. The money will not keep you in it. I'm telling you,
that's a bar right there, dude. The money will not keep you in this business.
It really won't. You know what I mean? There's gotta be something behind it. The wind has to be at your back. It's got to be in the sales, or you are just going to just listlessly go around, make money that means nothing. It's hollow. And then all of a sudden you're wondering what happened to me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
We see it all the time. We see it with people in this industry that love the chase, love the money, and then poof, they're like shooting stars. They're gone in 3 years.
Yeah,
right?
well, here it goes to this. Look, Kimberly Bolden says, "I get excited knowing I get to help people." I think that's it. We talk about this all the time. There's 2 forms of income in the world, right? There's financial income and then there's emotional income.
Yep.
And what's great about this business is that if you're the type of person that really desires emotional income, like I believe all 3 of us do at a very high level, the money, no matter how big it gets, the emotional income is what actually keeps you in this business. We enjoy helping people. And when we get that helper's high is what I can't remember who named it that. It might've been Jamil that named it that. You get that helper's high, that euphoria. I just help somebody, whether it's a seller, whether it's somebody brand new in the business, whether it's even a private money lender bringing money to you and they've never gotten a safe passive return on their money before. Whatever it is in real estate that you're using to help other people, that emotional income or that helper's high is what will ultimately keep you in the game, if that is what you're looking for. The people that I see flutter away, they don't get as their jollies off of helping people, in my opinion.
Right. Love it. Let's get to some questions. There's some great ones. Did you see that somebody got their first deal through Keegley? You see
Where?
that?
Where?
You know where that bell's at. You know this man needs to ring this bell. Oh, you got to ring it harder than that, bro.
Oh, shit, broke it. Hey, Brent Daniels, I broke the bell.
Right. Listen,
We've got some really, really good real estate questions in here, guys.
there is a certain technique to this bell. I'll tell you that. Real quick, before we get to the questions, can we pop up that picture real quick?
Do you
Matt,
remember?
because this is one of my favorite pictures of all times. And
yes.
this will be in my house forever. I'm telling you, that is incredible. So what a great day. What a great day.
You made it so special, dude. Thank you so much.
You guys crushed it. What a show. Guys, if you have not watched Triple Digit Flip, you are out of your minds. Make sure you see it. Can they get it on A&E?
Yeah, you can go to
Online?
A&E.com.
Guys, you
and
go to
check out
Hulu.
shows.
We found out you can find it on Hulu.
Too.
It's on Hulu.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Perfect.
You got to have like premium or whatever.
There you go. Or whatever. Yeah. So let's get to it. Yeah, let's get some questions in here. Pace, did you earmark any that you liked, or are we just going to rip and run? Here we go. Jacob, if there is a real estate company that owns a vacant, distressed property in my area, should I try to wholesale it?
Well, I mean, if there's a real estate company that owns a vacant property, maybe they own it because they bought it distressed. So you might want to contact them and see what their plans are to do with the apparently distressed looking property. Typically, when you see that LLCs that are related to real estate own houses like that, they're in one of two phases. They're in pre-planning or just about to pounce, or maybe they're wholesaling it themselves. Who knows? So it would be a good idea for you to make the connection. See if you can skip trace them, get a phone number, call them, find out if you can be of any assistance, if you can work with them, what they got, what they think, just go meet them. TTP.
The answer is try to wholesale everything.
Wholesale it all. Yeah.
I mean, listen, have a conversation and see what they need. If a fast cash offer, as is offers what they're looking for, then you're the person for the job. So there you go. There's a good question about family trust. What does it mean when a property is in a family trust? Pace, you want to take that one?
Yeah, so it's a handful of things. One, a family trust is a really great way to shroud who the actual owner is. For example, if you look up my family trust, you'll never see who actually owns the family trust. It doesn't say my name on the trust. And so in every state, it is impossible for you to find out who the owner of a trust is without subpoenaing it from a court. So anonymity is incredibly important when owning a lot of real estate. So what it also means is they probably own a lot of other real estate. They're very, very wealthy. And they also have an estate plan so that when they pass away, they don't have to go through probate. That's one of the other purposes of a trust is. Okay. So very highly intelligent, very savvy property owner. If it's a vacant property, that might mean that the children of the deceased are now inheriting that property through the trust, and they might be a really good set of people to send them a postcard to, cold call, or even go knock on the door of the trust's address, because the trust still has an address, right?
Yeah.
So
It
really,
would
really
be
good
like
question.
what, an attorney or an accountant or some kind of fiduciary?
Usually it's a financial advisor. Like for my family trust, the address that's on my family trust is my attorney.
Yep.
Yeah.
Love it.
Great question.
Tila, in my experience, I just, there's not very many times that I think one out of 1,800 deals has it been in a trust. I mean, usually when they have their ducks in a row, somebody's taken over that property. They have the means to either fix it up or put it on the market, but you never know. You never know until you get a hold of them. So Batch has about a 30% success rate on getting you the right number for who owns that trust. But even if it's the attorney, you can have a conversation with them. Yeah.
Jamil, I think this question is actually better for you. You want to read this out loud and answer it?
All right, Brent.
Jamil.
Jamil. How can I go about finding what my cash buyer would pay for a half burnt house here on the Central Valley? What does he mean? Is it here in Phoenix?
Sounds like California.
Sounds like California, yeah.
Okay, so typically when people are dealing with fire burn properties in high demand, high appreciation areas like Southern California or Central California would be, you're going to be at about 50% of ARV for that. That's what a cash buyer will pay that's serious and does this on a full-time basis, 50%.
Well, let me ask you, how does homeowners insurance play into this?
Oh, the owner will get an insurance check, and then they'll sell off the piece for whatever they can get.
Right.
So to them, it doesn't matter. They got a big check coming anyways, and it was a good situation for them. So a lot of times that's the most convenient thing. Sell to somebody who'll do it fast and get on with your life.
Yeah, and I would just say when you're having a conversation with those owners, just find out if they've gotten their insurance money yet.
Yeah, you know,
Okay.
there's a coach, Elijah Rubin. If you don't know him, he does a good job. He's really, really, really good at that one. Oh my God, like fire burn. He's the fire burn king, and he can show you how to help a homeowner go and get more money for their insurance. You can provide significant value to your homeowners, and they'll sell you the house because you helped them out so much. So check them out.
California. Yeah, it is California. All right. Kyle, how would you go about getting more time on your contract in Queen Creek if you couldn't find a buyer in time? Well, I'll tell you right now, Kyle, if you couldn't find a buyer in time in Queen Creek, you locked it up too high, brother.
Yep.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, my favorite question to ask Jamil is, Jamil, why can't I find a buyer? There's only two reasons, right? What are the two reasons I can't find a buyer?
It's too high, bro.
Or
that's number one and number two.
there's a number two.
Buyer for everything.
Yep.
At a price.
Right. So the thing is, it's too high or I don't have enough eyeballs.
Right. There's no eyeballs. It's in like some, BF town in a backyard somewhere that nobody will do as an investment.
Right.
But even at that pace, somebody will buy that for like $1,000.
Right.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I see a lot of wholesalers. This is what I'm getting at. What I'm getting at is I see a lot of wholesalers getting contracts and then they go into Facebook groups trying to sell these deals, and all they're doing is sending that deal out to another wholesaler, right? They're not actually talking to buyers. And so it's either A, you locked it up too high, or B, you don't have any actual buyers looking at it.
Right. In which case you better get to work and network with people and get that thing sold.
Yep.
I mean, there's 3 people on the screen right now, Kyle J, that would buy a deal in Queen Creek right now.
Yeah.
We're ready.
I mean,
yeah. DM us the
DM
details.
any one of us 3.
Yep. Yeah. That's the answer. Keegley.
Yeah. I'll buy it.
Yeah. Javon, go ahead.
Oh, can you comp? Well, I don't have a thing
Do you want to do it on your phone?
In Myrtle Beach, South Carolina? Sure, I'll try. South
Let's
Carolina's
try it.
not
It's 2 units, 3-2 each side, light
well,
renovation.
what's the
Both
rent?
brings in
2,800?
Bringing $2,800 monthly. You know what? This guy, Javon, seems like he's been following you, Jamil, because he gave you everything you needed.
He knows all the details. Yeah. So, guys, whenever you are looking at a deal, remember, you need the 4 pillars. You need the condition of the property, their timeline to sell that property, their motivation or what is their problem, and you need to know their price. So what Javon did excellently here is he gave us the condition, right? It needs a light renovation. He's given us I assume this person's ready to go. So we don't really know the timeline, but I'd love to know that. The motivation on it, not really there, looking for $300K, but we do have the price. So right here, we've got 2 out of 4 of the prequal here to make this like really smooth to comp and pull out. I'd love to know why they want to sell, what the motivation is, and I'd love to know if they're ready to go right now. So Javon, if you have that, I would love to see it. But go ahead.
448,000. That's what I'd offer for that.
And he wants 300. He wants 300.
That's a good deal.
Yeah.
If you said both units bringing in 2,800, so
I think it's combined though.
It's combined. If it's combined, it's 200.
Yeah. Yeah. 200,000.
Yep.
From 200.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's better if it was total, if that was a bigger amount, but 200 to 220 at the most.
I want to highlight this comment. I feel like there's only 5 ways to get into real estate and get deals. And this is the 5th way. So first way is direct to seller, right? Reaching out to sellers directly. And there's 1,000 tools to do that. Cold calling, billboards, TV, radio, blah, blah, all the direct to seller stuff. Direct to seller, JV, whether that's with wholesalers or real estate agents, working with trusted advisors like financial advisors, probate attorneys, stuff like that. And then the fourth one would be working somebody else's leads with them, like creative finance wise. And then the fourth way is working for somebody. A lot of people sleep on this, dude. Like if I'm 18 to 25 years old, I don't have a family to support and I got all the time in the world and I can go work for somebody for commission to get into this game and work. Think about my guys like Nick Newland.
How many wholesaling businesses have you started, Pace, from your employees?
Probably half as many as, not even half as many as you. Right. So, and same thing with Brent. So for me, like Nick Newling just left 45 days ago. He's off doing his own thing now. The last month that Tino worked for me was in January and he walked away that month making $18,000 that month. So think about that, guys. Like Tino was working for a hospital before that, making $8,000 a month. He came and worked for me in my wholesale business and made 2.5 times what he was making. You can go and work for people in their wholesale acquisition business and get into this business by basically having a highly paid internship. Yep. So I love this idea. I'm new to wholesaling. I'm happy to work for someone. That is this greatest like comment right there. I am happy to work for someone, anyone interested. Love it.
It's really interesting. Like back not that long ago, pretty much everything, every job, every career, every business started off as being an apprentice.
Right.
You had to be an apprentice.
Yep.
At the main attraction hair salon where I get my hair cut right off 30-second account back, they have to wash heads and sweep hair for 2 years while also doing all of their, and this is after you get out of school. For 2 years, you have to apprentice there just to start cutting hair to make $75,000 to $80,000. Like, I mean, there is like go in any construction, right? Pace.
Oh, 100%. You know how I started in construction? I used to go on
Miyagi treatment.
Yeah, you got the Mr. Miyagi. I used to go out late at night. I would work all day long, and then I was the grunt. I would have to go on job sites, and I would vacuum the job sites. I would sweep up. After all the guys did all the work, I would clean up after their mess, pick up their burritos, clean the toilet. I would do all the things, right? And you have to apprentice. You can't just know it all right out of the gate. Freaking love this.
Love it.
Go,
Jared Frankham had one, Pace. That was an interesting question right there. Go ahead.
Do y'all prefer to blast out a deal to buyers immediately after you send it to title, or do you prefer to get confirmation of clear title first? No, I mean, I'm gonna move. I'm gonna move. Clear title is gonna come. It's gonna come. If it's not clear, they're gonna still figure it out. That's what escrow's for.
Yeah, and plus your buyers, if they're really good buyers, they're gonna understand and they're gonna have ran into that multiple times too. Of
it's
like,
just you got to push through. Deals are gonna be what they are. You want to lock people in. You want to get people committed. You want to make sure you've got your thing going. Title commitment is going to come, and if it's not clear, it'll get cleared. If it's going to be able to get cleared, and so just go.
And Jared, I think the old picture of you on YouTube with the TTP shirt. I mean, you just changed it up. I'm a little heartbroken, but I get it. No, Jared's been crushing. He does the Rockstar to Rookie call every other week in my TTP.
He's out there right now crushing it.
I get text.
We see you, bro.
I get texts from the TTP family members every day thanking me for letting Jared loose in our group. Mm-hmm. Like for real. He just moved to North Carolina in Charlotte, and he's documenting every single day what he's doing in the group. It's phenomenal. Yeah.
Driving for dollars, getting it done, making lists, hitting up.
Mm-hmm. Paulette,
let's go.
Good evening, PB&J. If I find a bank-owned pre-foreclosure list, can I still cold call them and see if they would sell subject to creative financing? Auction set for November 8th. The short answer, yes. Pace, you want to expand?
Yeah, so we always go for them on. This was one of the best lists before pandemic happened. Is the pre-foreclosures in October, November, and December of 2019, leading up before the pandemic, we acquired and held 45 subject to deals only from foreclosure lists. 45. Wow. Yep. That doesn't include the cash deals that we got. In fact, Matt got a deal just like 30 minutes ago off the pre-foreclosures. Now that pre-foreclosures are starting to come back. Okay.
Right.
So but that ended up being a cash deal. We always go for the cash, Paulette, always go for the cash, because even if you end up buying it on Creative Finance, going for it with cash allows you to understand all the other offers, get all the information you need, go through the process on the cash offer. And if the cash offer doesn't work, then you can be the person that brings a solution that no other wholesaler has brought by bringing the subject to. You don't call them and say subject to right out of the gate. You call them and you build rapport, you understand their situation, and you then pull out the arrow out of your quiver of subject to and Creative Finance when it's appropriate.
Love it. Real quick. Hi, Bo. Hi.
Hi.
Bo. The 4-year-old Bo Richard Daniels.
What's up?
All right. Be nice to your mom. I'll see you soon. Love you. All right. Just got a text from Aaron saying that that Bo was watching. So I had to give a shout out. Yeah, it was our 6-year wedding anniversary last night.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it's nice. There we go. So Abigail, Jamil, you were awesome. Well, here you go. I guess you could read this one.
No, I like it when you read it to me.
Jamil, you are awesome. Your beard is looking A1,
Well,
like
you.
the barbecue sauce. No, the steak sauce. No. Question. Can you expand on how to submit offers with agents? Do I submit offers with the listing agents, or do I have my own agent and make offers?
You go right to the listing agent and you have them waive buyer representation. That way they can decide what to do with that commission. They can either keep it, they can give it back to the seller. You waive buyer representation. There's 3% up for grabs. The agent will do whatever they think is the right thing to do.
There you go. There's a great, there was actually a great question. I'm real curious to just get the overall. It was a question about comping multifamily. Somebody needed help comping multifamily. Now you did that quickly on your phone. Was it comps? Was it the numbers behind the multifamily? What do you think is the best and most effective? And I always look for comps just to see what's going on, what's available, because I feel like investors are going to snatch up everything as soon as it hits the market.
Yep.
So I'm very curious about that. But obviously, there's a cash flow component to it. So
sure, yeah, no, it's completely cash flow when it's multifamily. That's how value is determined on those things, right? So as an investor and comps are good to look at, but you have to see, are those comps, are they operating at a low level or at what the market will pay for, like a turnkey rental? So
an appraiser sees a triplex.
Yeah, he's going to do an income approach, and a structure approach. They're typically within some percentages of each other. He's using comparables when he's doing structural, like the actual structure approach.
Right.
And whichever is higher is the one that actually goes.
Right.
So if by income approach they get to a higher number, that will be the one that the bank will use.
Got it. Is there, so what if somebody builds like a really nice like fourplex and they're getting like $2,000 a month for each one, but the surrounding areas it's like $500 is what a typical would be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Does that play? I mean, could you just go and build something nice anywhere, or do you have to?
Well, the thing would be, would you be able to get $2,000 in a neighborhood where everything else is $500?
Right.
That's the question.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that rent is a circumstance of surrounding location and all the things, amenities, safety, all the things that people pay for.
Yeah.
Right. So but I think when you're looking at anything multifamily and cash flow, you have to look at it from an income basis.
Got it.
Because that's how they're always going to look at it
and
value it. And every market's going to have a different cash flow.
That's what I wanted to get to.
Right. Look, here's the thing. In Southern California, for every $1 million you spend, you can expect $4,000 a month in cash flow.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah. When in other areas,
you can spend
10,000, 20,000.
Yeah.
You spend $1 million in, an area that's more cash flow based, and the properties are 70 to 100,000.
Yep.
You're going to get a whole lot more of them. You're going to get way more in rents. It's more cash flow.
Correct.
Right. But
Correct.
In California, you get the appreciation.
100%. 100%. That's where the money's made.
Yeah. Yeah. Love it. Pace, you want to get this one? Oh, I can't hear you. Something happened with your mic there, buddy. Oh, you're just muted.
All right. Sorry.
There you go.
Ahmad says, question for 3 of you guys. I am so damn serious to quit my job to get into wholesaling that what would you suggest to me, please? I would reverse engineer. What does that actually even mean? So I talked to a kid last night on the 26-hour live that he's like, honestly, if I made $1,500 a month, I could leave my job. I'm like, okay, well then go work for another wholesaler because you're going to make a lot more money than $1,500 a month. If that's really what you want, is a little bit more stability, or drive for dollars in your spare time. Again, Ahmad, this is the endlessly most challenging question to actually answer properly because I don't know your situation, right? So you've got to give us a little bit of a back here, sir. Are you making $300,000 a month right now at your job and you just hate it? Are you a prize fighter and you train Floyd Mayweather? I don't know what you do. So it's a hard one to answer. But again, going back to the very beginning of the show, what is your next step? What is your immediate next step? Focused on that one thing in order to replace your income. If you've never done a deal before, then don't focus on quitting your job. Focus on getting the next deal, right?
Yeah.
Quitting your job comes by getting the next deal.
Yeah, and listen, Ahmad, it depends on what you're doing for lead generation. But if you are going to keep a tight budget, if you're just going to cold call, if you have a dialer, which I suggest that you do, it's going to take you 20 hours to get a deal. You're going to have to talk to 200 people. 199 of them will not do business with you, but one will. And this is the tough part. That's easy math. That seems reasonable. 20 hours of calls to get whatever, 10, 15. I mean, the average is probably 10,000, depending on the area, up to an average of 20,000, depending on the area. And so the issue is it takes 90 days to close that first one.
Right.
On average. I mean, it just takes longer to close. You have to do some lead follow-up. You have to put it under contract. And then usually it takes 30 days, sometimes longer, depending on what state you're at or what state you're in, to be able to close that because of the title companies and their availability. But 30 days to close it, 90 days total. That's the hard part. The hard part is how do I take sustainable action for 90 days with nothing to show for it, with all the doubts and fears and insecurities and anxieties that we feel because we're not getting paid, but we're doing all this work and we're programmed that if I do work, I get paid, but this is like going in a totally different direction. So will this happen? I hope this happens. And going through all of that stuff for 90 days, a lot of people don't make it through. That's
an interesting thing. I use the analogy
to squat up.
I used the analogy the other day about mowing a lawn, right? So like you mow a lawn and you immediately know that the lawn was mowed.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You can see the lines, there's grass clipping, you got to clean up the mess. You know, and there's immediate satisfaction from the work that you put in. Real estate is not like that. It's like mowing the lawn 90 days in a row to finally see the lawn mowed once. And people on the third day, they're like, what am I doing? The lawnmower is broken. I'm going to go buy another lawnmower. No, dude, that's the weird thing about real estate. You have to do something for 90 days before you can tell whether it's working or not.
That's it. And you push through that. I mean, that's like the trial by fire.
Yes.
And then you're talking to a lot of people and you're really working on that courage and you're really working on that faith. And then when it pops, that's why everybody gets so crazy. So, Drossel, it just depends. Depends on how many people you're talking to, and it depends on how many leads you have in the pipeline. So, and it depends on how long that's been. Has it been over 90 days since you've been consistent making those calls and following up with all those leads? So there's different factors for sure. But if you're staying in front of those leads, you're following up with them, you're pre-qualifying them so that you're making sure you're not, spending a lot of time with people that'll never do business with you. You'll see that'll come down.
Look at this comment. This is really good. I want to point this out and to our horns for this. Okay. So our job is to build communities that help other people, right? That's our real job as mentors. And so I love seeing this because it means that I've done deals with TTP students, Astro students, like the amount of help and support is endless in those three communities. So Dominique Shaw says, just wanted to say that today I squatted up, which is the whole logo and like phrase and motto of this show. I squatted up with a sub-2 student, brought her a deal that we are waiting for the seller to sign. Haven't done a deal in over a year. Fingers crossed seller will sign. The seller will sign. You'll be just fine. But more important, you built a relationship with somebody. And in this business, we need people to be around. We need a squad of people to keep us accountable and to have fun with. You can't do this business on your own. Stop being an island, as Jamil says frequently.
Go to Jared Hetler. Look at that. First micro flip locked in. I'm coming for that hat.
That's a mastermind hat, dude. That's a dope hat.
So hold on, Jared. Here you go, buddy. Come on.
Yes. Hey, Brent, I've got a really good one here for you. I'm curious what your thoughts are on this. My first feeling when I read this comment is maybe they're not doing 20 hours consecutively, or maybe they're doing, an hour a week rather than 4 hours a week. Maybe there's a reason there, or maybe it's an average is a 20-hour a week and you shouldn't look at it as a black and white equation. What are your thoughts on this comment here?
Well, listen, one thing is, not to say that you don't know your numbers, but 20 hours, sometimes 2 hours feels like 20 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd like to see the report. I'd like to see the dialer report that shows the 20 hours. That would be fantastic. And that's just a good habit to keep in front of you, especially as you start hiring other people.
Look, it's 5:50 in the evening.
I love it.
Here I am getting text messages with property addresses from a real estate agent.
Where is it?
Right here.
Oh yeah.
Getting
24th Ave and Coolidge.
Yeah, getting leads from an agent, getting deals in my phone.
Look at that.
That's how that
You better
happens.
respond to her.
Of course.
I'm gonna run this so that you could get this deal real quick. Okay. So here it is. So with that 20 hours, make sure that it is fully 20 hours of actual calling, not setting up the dialer, not organizing your list. Dressel, I believe that it is. I believe that you've put in that work. All I'm saying is, number one, make sure that your contact rate is about 7%. You want to make sure that you're talking to 10 people an hour and that you are getting 200 contacts to get that closed deal. All right. That's really important. That really comes down to the data that you're buying. That's why I keep pushing and doing everything I can so that people use batch skip tracing, because everything else is just watered down, white labeled garbage. All right. These guys spend millions and millions and millions for accurate data. Use it. All right. So make sure that you're using batch skip tracing for that. Make sure that you're using a dialer. Batch has a dialer too, but whatever. Use whatever you want to use. And then in that, I would really be interested if you're using batch dialer and the batch data. Batch skip tracing. I would be real curious to hear. And I am willing, if anybody wants to send me the recording of their cold calls. Nobody seems to do it, but Brent at wholesalinginc.com. Brent at Wholesaling Inc. Send me the recordings. I'll make a breakdown video for you of what I think should be some improvements that you can make in your conversations. That would be the next thing. The next thing would be, how quality are those conversations? Are you asking the right questions? Are you catching people, and catching them at the right moment to make a decision and to be a lead, and to make sure that you're not getting bogged down with people that aren't leads.
What's your email again, Brent?
Brent at wholesalinginc.com.
You guys, if you're not sending your recorded calls to Brent, you're crazy.
Let's go.
Lawrence,
I'm telling you, I have publicly said this 3 times. Not a single person has sent me a recording.
Not a single person has sent Brent a recording. Come on, guys. Not a single
person has. My students do. My students do every day. I break those down every day.
This is a challenge for non-TTP students.
And the TTP students that haven't sent it.
But
listen, there are little knobs and little tweaks to this business that you make, and all of a sudden everything is in alignment. Good data, consistent calling, and quality conversations. And then you get into the whole pace side of things, which is converting them, doing the follow-up, doing a presentation, making sure that that these are people that you can really help out, and then getting them closed.
Lawrence Swart says, have any one of you ever wholesaled a custom-made high-end house, $1 million? Jamil has wholesaled a house for me at $1.6 million. This is a couple of years ago. I actually convinced the seller to write a check for $75,000 to get rid of the house. And I think Jamil and I both made 20 or 30 grand on the deal. It was great. So yes, it's possible. Jamil, is it really hard to comp these types of houses?
Yeah, it depends. I mean, the thing about custom high end, right, is that they're going to be difficult for some remodelers to really wrap their heads around how much needs to actually get done. They're already so big, right? And then that price point that's going to be buying in there, they're going to be really choosy about what kind of finishes they're going to look for in a house like that. And when it's super custom and you got all these crazy tunnels and weird hallways, and
That's the thing.
that's where it just becomes a crapshoot. In that price point, it's difficult.
And typically, if the property's in rough condition where it needs a remodel and it's a custom home and it's in this $1 million neighborhood, typically you're dealing with funky floor plans.
That's the problem.
It's like the properties that were built 70s, 80s, 90s. These are the ones that come up now because of wear and tear and just, the functional obsolescence of those properties. Ooh. Functional obsolescence. So you got to make sure that it's something that somebody's going to come in and want to buy and spend millions of dollars. It's got to be their dream home. So as an investor, you got to go in there and put the best stuff in, and that's a big budget. So
big budget.
Pricing is super important. Lawrence.
Yeah, you want to
don't let them sell you.
You really want to be at half value.
Mm-hmm.
If the ARV on that thing is $2 million, you want to buy that thing for $1 million because you're going to be spending crazy.
Yep.
At most 60%. Yeah. At most.
Brent Daniels, this is a good one for you.
Got it. What is the top 3 best leads for virtual wholesaling?
A lead list.
I assume he's saying lists, right?
Yeah.
Listen, Rob, it's just keep it simple. Driving for dollars. You can do that virtually. Driving for dollars is going to be phenomenal. I like old multifamily and I like vacant land in town. Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Okay. A lot of really good ones. Jamil, you open to comping a couple more just through your phone?
Sure.
Okay. We got a bunch of those. So let me pick one of those. Jamil, can you comp a tough house for me? 10370 Southwest 155th Street.
Dunalon. Where's Dunalon, Florida? Where the heck is this place? It looks like it's in the middle of the sticks.
Off market.
Yep.
What's going on here? You got a vacant lot there. 12. What's that? 12?
12 for a vacant lot. Yep. What do you got here? They've got a house. It's a 1950 square footer. So you had a sale at about 114, but it was 2 years ago. And really that's I think you're probably worth about 150,000. About 150,000.
Says the seller wants $50,000 and only needs a cosmetic update on the inside.
Yeah, I mean, there's quite possibly a decent deal there. The question is going to be, who's going to really buy there? Are there a lot of buyers over there? So you want to look at the the listing history of the area. How many LLCs have owned over there? Have there been any recent cash transactions? You got to do a little bit of research in a market before you just start marketing and locking things up in there. See who's been doing stuff. Who are the players? Can you meet buyers? Have you spoken to buyers? But I think in Dunalon, Florida, if you can find somebody who's doing deals out there, you could probably sell that thing to them for about, I think at least 10 over that.
Brent, you got this one?
Yeah. One. Would you call owners who own lots of land to ask if they would sell the side of the lot they aren't using, like 11K lot where they have one house built and the rest is tall grass or it has been flattened? That's one strategy. I don't do it because it takes forever to rezone properties and governments are just way slower right now. Zoning is way slower right now and they may not approve it. It just depends on what's going on with those lots. So I like going for the full Monty. I like going for that full property and not doing this lot split thing. Even if somebody tells you, well, I'm going to do a lot split, or you could split this lot and I'll sell you this piece of land. Well, split the lot first and then buy it. So it's just a long process. And the problem that I have is if you're getting into this and getting new and getting momentum, I don't want you to have in your brain space taken up by this deal that may or may not happen with the zoning department. Now you're making calls and doing all this work and jumping through all these hoops, and it may or may not even be a deal, and it might take forever. So I wouldn't suggest it. I would just suggest that you go for the full thing, and if they don't want to sell, move on. Find somebody that has a vacant lot.
Jamil, you already working on this one?
He's on it.
Al Edmondson says, Jamil, can you comp 1739?
Al, listen, you need to give more info here, brother. Like just sending him a property to comp, like what's the condition of it? What's the timeline of it? What's his motivation? Like when you're sending in comps, you need to make sure that you've already spoken with the owner and give as much information as possible, because it makes it better for Jamil to be able to respond. Obviously, he can pull the comps and look at it, but knowing what's going on is going to be really, really, really important. All right.
You've got a sale not too far away recently from 2021, but it's a little bit smaller. It's by, I'd say about half the size. Now, Chicago, Illinois has got some really good areas, and it's got some areas that are a little bit more difficult. Look, the market's hot everywhere, though.
Does he have a license?
Does who have a license?
Al.
I hope so.
You need a license in Illinois, Al. So you get one shot.
Yep.
Unless you want to close it on yourself, and that's fine. It just depends on what your strategy is. If it's not, if your strategy is to just buy it and flip it, that's great. But I'd love to get more info.
I think you could call the ARV on that thing around 260. That's where I'm getting you.
260?
260.
So what would he offer?
Probably about 60% of that. Yep. I'd want to be at like 155 to 165 max.
Jamil, I have been coming across vacant houses where the data shows they were purchased for way over retail, and they have millions in negative equity. What's going on, and can anything be done? Do you know what he's talking about?
Of course I know what he's talking about. There's real estate companies that have been purchasing and buying in neighborhoods for years, and they own so many properties in those areas. And when we had a really nice 20-30% gap, jump in most real estate markets, they like to buy that and overpay even. Pace, we were in the transaction where it happened with us. We were listed at a price, and they came in $25,000 over our list. And you know what else we saw? They owned everything in the area.
Mm-hmm.
They just set a new comp by buying that one property, that fully remodeled property from us at that like really high value. They made
all of them are up.
They increased their balance sheet by $2 million. Right. That's what's going on, and what can be done. It's what's happening. You just, if you can see it, then you can ride it.
Zachary, if you're using PropStream, or even here with Monsoon, our tax assessor site, what happens is sometimes people buy bulk packages, and it records each one of them in the millions of dollars. And so sometimes people buy 50, 60, 70 properties, and it's like $9 million.
If you see something like that, that's absolutely what's happening. That's a bulk package. But if you're just seeing it like 25% or 30% over everything else, and then when you look at it, it's like, wow, it's kind of nice. And then it's a private equity company. See what else they own in the hood.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's happening.
Hey, I live in Detroit, where you can't go 10 feet without seeing ugly houses. Are there cash buyers that want houses in not the best neighborhoods? There are vacant houses everywhere. This is a great one. Just as a side note, this is really interesting. I was watching something called Climate Change Migration. Okay, it's on YouTube, and it's showing that cities like Detroit are going to have a renaissance.
Of course they will.
Interesting, because it was basically saying that, like, the weather's going to be so bad in certain states, or it's going to basically like flood Florida, that people are going to go up north. Yeah. It's pretty wild, but hundreds of years. I mean, whatever else, but it could be quicker. I mean, it's really interesting watching the climate change migration in the country.
Think about our water issues. You guys know about our water issues in Arizona?
Yes.
major water issues coming our way in the next 5 to 10 years. Like
I
major.
talked to a civic engineer about it that worked for the city of Phoenix. Pace. We have been dumping the filtered sewage, all the water into the aquifers underneath Maricopa County since the 70s or 80s. We got a lot of water under there, but the Colorado River is drying up.
Yeah.
Yep. Interesting. Yep. There you go. Anyway, the answer to that is if there's buyers out there, great. What you're looking for is you're looking for dumpsters in the front yard. You're looking for turnover. You're looking for something like that. If you feel like there's just not an area where people are investing their profits, it'd be real interesting to see if that's what are those areas? The economic opportunity zones. I would look to see if those areas are in the opportunity zones. Investors get a really nice tax credit for those. Right. There's a lot of benefit to that. So I would look into that. And if you're not in the opportunity zone and there's like no buyers in the area, it's going to be really, really, really tough. The other side I would say is when you're looking at those properties, they're very, very low priced. The deals that you get on them are typically way smaller. And you could do a deal if you go for a property at $200,000, make 10% versus 10% of something that's like, $10,000.
Advice for dealing in Seattle where there's 10 plus offers over asking price. For sale by owners are selling like hotcakes and everyone thinks they're getting scammed. That's everywhere. Here's the thing. Deals are still happening, right? So then there's something different that you need to do. You're probably looking at the MLS. You got to get a layer deeper in who you're talking to and get more guerrilla with it. That's it. Monique Walker this is still one of the hottest markets in the United States. She only does 30 contacts a day and she has 18 escrows all the time. 18 to 20 at all times. Yeah. One person.
Yeah.
This is a great question.
How would you go? Lawrence asks, how would you go about telling the seller's daughter to F off? She called me wanting to cancel the contract I executed with the mom. Yeah.
Go
ahead, gangster. This is you.
Honestly, I would just say, I'm sorry. Life doesn't work like that. We are in a contract and I get that you want to cancel, but we've already started spending money. We're doing things and we're in contract. And so, it's just going to end up meaning that you're going to make less money because I've been here before. This happens. People do this. I do the thing. We do the court. I get the house. You take home less money. Takes 6 more months. Fine. What do you want to do?
And I think just tying back into this is the conversation I had with your mom. What's changed?
Yeah. Well, of course. Of course.
You know what I mean?
Try to diffuse it. But if they're just like what's happened is they've got a better offer. They want out. They want the extra $20,000. That's what happened.
I love that somebody said that Phoenix is so brown. Yeah, that's how we feel when we fly back, to the south or to Atlanta or Florida or anywhere. Massachusetts is so green.
Mm-hmm.
You look at the map of the United States and you just see that brown stripe because of the mountain ranges that
brown
created the deserts. Yeah,
red, right?
Yeah.
Like we're a little brown and pink.
Yep. So this has been a great show for questions and answers and live deals. You kidding me?
Deals?
Come on.
Yes.
Comping on a cell phone. Come on. What else can you get? What else could you need? This is awesome.
When you do assignments, do you have to be affiliated with a title company? Well, if you're doing an assignment, then the deal is already there's already escrow open at a title company. So it's not that you have to be affiliated. It already is. The deal's already open somewhere if you're going to be assigning it. So it's kind of like a chicken and egg situation.
So every deal that you open it up with title.
You have to.
Yeah.
You can't assign a deal you don't have open a title.
And you're going to put together all the paperwork for all the recording and
right.
Yeah. So let the title company do their job.
Well, you can't assign a deal that you can self-perform. I learned that from Pace.
Yeah.
I have a seller who doesn't want to let their tenant know they're selling. This happens all the time. I would say Jamil probably is the best suited for this, but when you scale in this business, we have no problem. I've got a contract we just got yesterday on Sunday. We've been waiting for it for a couple of days. And then, oh no, here's what it was. We have one we bought last week, but I got one yesterday on my 26-hour live. I called sellers for 6 hours straight, 15-minute intervals. Just getting on the phone with sellers is great. And I had a seller that said, I don't want my tenants to know I'm selling. I go, no problem.
Right.
We'll close on the deal. I'll introduce myself to the tenants after you've already received your money, so you don't have anybody yell at you. And that is how sometimes we allow or we give convenience to our sellers. That's how we provide value. Sometimes that actually is an amazing thing. But when you're brand new and you don't have the ability to close on that, you've got to find a buyer who's willing to do that. Is that correct, Jamil?
Yep, 100%. And that's a value proposition. That's something that you can get. You can actually get value or a better price for the property for this situation. That's worth money. That little situation there equals dollars.
Horacio says, hey guys, I have a potential double close deal. Seller wants $120,000 for both. Jamil, can you comp them real quick? I think this will be our last comp one for the day. Or Jamil, you don't want to do that today?
I can't because it's Texas.
Oh, it's Texas. Okay. He can do Texas deals, guys. He just needs his computer, a little bit more access to tools. Okay. So
I need batch leads. I need to be on batch leads in order to be able to comp in Texas. But I'm
guys, we will have we'll have the computer set up for every show moving forward here so that we can do the comps and you have your computer and everything. Hopefully you come in more.
I love this.
I love it. I love it. And Pace too. We're just
come in next
Pace.
week.
You know,
I will come in every week. It's just this week I had a bunch of the sub-2 students come in from out of town. They stayed at my house, and so I got caught up and happy with talking to them right up until the middle of the show. So I'm so sorry.
We miss you, but love you, bro. You've been crazy.
Yeah.
That was amazing. Amazing to watch. So incredible.
Jamil,
you guys, can they still watch that? Can someone, if someone wasn't on it live, can they go and watch it and then digest it in like probably, for 5 days, like it should be consumed?
Probably in like, I don't know, 5 to 10 weeks is what you should consider. Yeah. Kendall Parlor says, how would you go about not having to put earnest money deposit when dealing with a realtor for an on-market deal, or should I just not try?
Kendall, don't try it. It's not going to work.
No.
If you're going to go with a realtor, they are going to require an earnest deposit. I'm telling you, and they are going to sniff you out. If you say you don't have an earnest deposit or you don't want to put together an earnest deposit, they are not going to push for you to get that deal. So, yeah, if you're dealing with a realtor and it's on the market, expect earnest money for sure.
Okay, here we go. Emilio Chavez says, when starting a new virtual wholesale business, would you say it's a great idea to start where there are Keegley franchises to help get contracts sold? Guys, this is where this is coming from because I talk about this frequently. When people say, what market should I choose? I go, where's Keegley? Because Keegley is a highly intelligent organization that knows where there are hotter pockets. And what does that mean? Hot pocket, by the way. You want to know where there are buyers actually buying properties. And if Keegley has already deployed boots on the ground and they've established offices in those locations, you know that there's enough buyers there and enough activity for you to jump in and swim in that pond. Jamil, are you guys just opening franchises like any old ass town or what?
No, there's specific territories and it's all intentional based on population and density. I mean, that's what it's about. Nobody wants to spin their tires, right? That's the thing. You're going to be out in those backwood areas, and there's just not people doing stuff.
Yeah, and Emilio, the Wednesday morning show, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'm having Lauren Hardy. Lauren Hardy's in. She coaches the virtual, and it's going to be absolutely incredible. Top coach in the virtual wholesaling. So make sure that you join us on the Brent Daniels YouTube channel.
When's that?
Wednesday, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Be there.
But the question is, what shirt will you be wearing?
Me?
Yeah.
I think we know. I think we know what I'll be wearing.
Kelly
Do you have
Handel
another
says no
shirt?
shirt.
This is the only shirt. Listen, I bought like 1,000 of them, so
Yeah.
you know I only wear them
It's
once.
crazy to me. I think
Oh,
it would be annoying. Is it kind of annoying you have to wash that same shirt every single day?
Yeah, that's weird. I only have one of them, but you know, it's just part of my routine. I love it.
So Medium Wave Dave asked the question. I love Medium Wave Dave out there in Long Island. He's a sub 2 student and a mastermind student as well. He says, guys, I have a hairy one. That's a private conversation, bro. You need to keep that to yourself. But we have a duly signed contract on a hoarder house with the seller's 2 kids that have power of attorney over the property. The seller just passed. He then follows up and says, the judge has yet to approve the purchase price. All money was going to go to hospice. Does this change anything or are we protected? Hold on. Let me read this again. We have a duly signed contract.
I have a hairy one. That's what he meant.
Yeah. Yeah. Pace just woke up from his 26-hour. Yeah. Yeah, no, listen, I'm a little bit confused here because it says that the money should go to hospice, but the seller passed. So I don't know if there's another
There has to be maybe the other spouse, right?
They must owe a bill for it.
They must owe, but all the money was going. So now that there's kids involved, I mean, you're going to have to see who's going to get title.
Yeah, the problem right now is that like nobody cares except for the agents and people and attorneys and all the weirdos involved now because the kids aren't getting anything. So now the business, the hospice, they care. So they're going to have attorneys looking into it so that they can get their money. Right.
Yeah.
I think that what's going to happen is it's going to go through a legal process and they may even ask for some kind of a realtor to go out there and do a broker price opinion.
Shout out to Valentine. He texted he got a 30K deal closing tomorrow, and he's watching the show. So hopefully you're still watching. Congratulations, Valentine, local Phoenix.
Yeah. Boom. That's how you do it.
There we go. You gotta be tight with it.
I'm gonna
be tight.
The next one, I'm using the torch next time.
Yes. I'm gonna get you like a mini one. It's just like a cigarette lighter.
Yeah.
A cigar lighter or something. All right. Brent, did you have that shirt under your tux at your wedding? I was born in this shirt, baby. All right. This thing actually came out of my body. It just morphed out. Yeah, like venom.
Your mom tried to take it off, but you'd always just appear with it again.
That's it. So there you go.
That's when she knew he was special.
Yeah. All supers wear their outfits when they're at work, saving the world. That's it, Freddie. Yep. You got it. Is it bad that all my buyers are institutional buyers? Great question.
They could turn off. Yep. You want to find a good range of people to do business with. That's a telltale sign that if you have anxiety over it, then that's usually a good thing. If you're getting anxiety about it, then maybe it's telling you something.
Yep.
Go find some other people to work with.
And I've seen it a ton of times with real estate agents that get all of their business from
one or two sources,
and then boom. I mean, really, with an email.
Yep.
It's shut off.
And they shut off for a variety of reasons. So it doesn't have to do with anything about the market. They could just they could have just capped.
Yep.
And they're just selling off now. They might be in the process of a merger.
Yep.
There's so many things that go in the background that could trigger a stop in purchasing. Right? They don't want to be in the middle of a whole bunch of escrows if they're selling the company to another private equity firm, right? So you don't know when it's going to happen. And when they go off, you go off.
Yep. Christopher, should you continue to make an offer to the seller even if they are planning to list it with a realtor? Property needs a good amount of work to it and has a violation on it. What do you think, Pace?
Should you continue to make an offer to the seller even if they're planning to list it with a realtor? No. The property needs a good amount of work to it and has no violation. No, because I'm always looking for what sign the seller is holding in their hand, right? There's always this invisible sign, and that sign says, I have no pain and I don't think you can help me. I don't want anybody to make any money on my house. I'm going to try and squeeze out every penny. My timeline does not match up. That's what that sign says. I would not spend my time on that seller. Whenever a seller says, nope, I'm planning on listing it with a realtor, there's very little you can do. because people that are about to list a house with a realtor mean they don't have enough pain. They don't have enough motivation, and they move on.
But I would still say it's worth this second call to see if you can talk to the realtor and get an understanding of what they're thinking of listing it at. If the agent is reasonable and makes sense and they understand what they're trying to sell, and if it's truly a property that's in dated, original, or distressed condition, you might be able to have a real conversation with them and get it at a price that makes sense, even with the agent involved.
Well, this is a great point. So a couple of weeks ago, we had, I posted that Instagram thing where I go, hey, whoever wants to come in from out of town, come jump in my truck and we're going to drive around and do a road trip all day, right? So we did that 3 weeks ago. And I took them up to a property up in Payson, Arizona that we got directly from a seller. But the seller says, well, yeah, we drove all the way to Payson. So what we did is we cold called the seller. And the seller says, I'm about to list the property with a realtor. And we go, okay, well, why don't you let us talk to the realtor? The realtor was like, yeah, dude, if I don't have to list this on the market, give me this price. And they didn't list it on the market. They sold it directly to us. The agent still got a commission. And now what's funny is that agent is now sending us other deals to look at in Payson.
That's it. Yep. I love it. And listen, planning on listing, I feel like the door's cracked. You know what I mean? Planning on listing. That doesn't mean that you already listed it. Doesn't mean that you've signed the paperwork. Doesn't mean that you know your realtor you're working with. Doesn't know when you're going to do it. But planning on, well, what if I could get you cash and you don't have to pay those costs?
Yeah, well, you got to determine whether or not that person values safety in a contract, like agency in a contract or not.
Yep.
You know, there's just some people that are like, I can't do business on my property without a professional watching over the documents and the process. That's just like how it is. There's just people like that who won't be able to get over that fear. So they're going to work with an agent. Now your job then is to get to the agent.
Yep.
Before it hits the MLS. It's perfect timing. Strike.
Moran
is it
says,
possible to buy a property inside a life estate? Pace?
100%. Yes.
What's a life estate?
A life estate it's not even a specific type of estate. It's just a family planning estate. It's so funny, like how everybody calls things different things. At the end of the day, it's a family planning trust, right? At the end of the day, those properties are owned inside of a trust, and people call that an estate. A trust is the estate.
Yep. Mark, good point. We've been doing a lot of Facebook ads recently. Not a lot, but we spend about 15 grand a month on pay-per-click and Facebook. Same thing, Mark. We don't do them in Tucson just because Tucson's just whatever, Tucson. And I mean, it is. I don't know. Whatever. We never get big deals in Tucson, so I just focus on Northern Arizona here. But anyway, a lot of the people that are going to reach out, whether it be any kind of web lead, whether it be Facebook and or pay-per-click or SEO, search engine optimization, it's going to be a lot of retail, a lot of really good properties. You need to move on. We look for discounted properties. We're looking for potential discounted properties. We go after these properties in their as-is condition, and we want something that needs some love.
I think you still hold a grudge at some kind of football game or something between you and Tucson.
Yeah, we lost, but we beat them this year. So, and it's not even that. You go to Tucson, it's like, if you want to see brown and sidewalks, that's Tucson. At least we have some.
Tucson is Tucson.
Yeah, Tucson's Tucson. Go ahead.
Should wholesale business owners be the one closing sellers forever, or should they delegate that function to other acquisitions personnel over time and get out of it? I mean, I think, of course, Claudio, if that's where you're headed, I know you and you're doing business. So if your job right now is scale, you can't scale if you're going to be the guy on the phone closing everything up. Now, you don't want to cut the earner off either, right? So you've got to have a plan. If you're the one bringing in all the contracts and you don't have a steady, repeatable process, then create that. And once you have that, and I know you do because I've seen you present, I think it's time. You know, go delegate that function, delegate it, grow, expand.
Yeah. Claudio, do you want to be the superstar, or do you want to be the owner of the company? You know, I always talked about LeBron and the Lakers. Somebody on here is like, stop putting that on. So do you want to be Giannis or do you want to be the Bucks, right? The owner of the Bucks. You know what I mean? Do you want to be the superstar that goes out there and closes these deals, keeps all of it, and and is always playing the game? Or do you eventually want to move to the owner's box, own the business, and find really talented people that you can put in there? So, yeah. Joe, yeah, absolutely. Have you considered TV ads? Yeah, I've got a good buddy that runs those, coaches those, puts those together. I think it's interesting. But you guys are running the flipme.com ads, right? Flipme.com. Where's the hat? There it is. Come on. There it is. There's the Flip Me. Now this dad hat does not look good on me. I'm going to be honest. Your other hat looks good on me, but look at this. Flip Me. Boom. There it is. Dad hat. This is their commercials. You'll see it when you watch their show, Triple Digit Flip. But to get deals, yeah. Gianna, it was you, Al. Okay, I see it here. Giannis is better. Yeah, to get deals, try it. I mean, we've got Doug Hopkins does it. A couple other guys in town do it.
Yep.
It's worked forever. So, I mean, I would just test it out.
Tips for finding a money partner for a proof of funds.
Kogo Capital.
Kogo Capital would be my
$7.
Yep.
KogoCapital.com.
Yep.
There you go. Or just go partner up with somebody. Find somebody that is successful. You know what you need to do now that meetup groups and RIAs are all, go look for that dude that like looks like he has swagger, way more swagger than he should. He's kind of older. He's kind of like wearing the Hawaiian shirt. You know, he's chilling out. He's having a beer. You know what I mean? And
For
that
sure.
guy's the guy that has the money.
Of course he does.
Right?
Of course
Those
he
are the
does.
guys that have the capital. Either they own a like hard money or private money or whatever else. They're lending out money. Have them be your partner. If you go there confidence knowing that you have the financial resources to close these deals, you're going to be unstoppable. The thing that stops a lot of people is I am faking this. I'm faking this.
Yep.
I don't have any way to purchase this property. And that's why you're not going to take action. Find that person that's going to be your backstop and be an actual buyer. Steve Allison, I can help with Kogo Capital. There you go. All right, Steve. What do we got?
That's Pacer.
Christopher Cruz says, should you continue putting your time into a seller who is not open to seller financing and a cash offer does not make sense? The answer is yes. I would still continue to follow up with them. And the reason being is we've seen that people that say they're, even yesterday during the 6 hours of calls I was making, I had a lady flat out in Florida say, I am not open to terms. I am not open to terms. I am not open to terms 3 times in the first 10 minutes. And by minute 16, I had her saying, let's do a deal with terms. And the reason being is either A, you got to spend a little bit more time finding the solution or what her ultimate motivation is, or B, you've just got to follow up long enough for something in their life to change. So
Right.
Christopher, if they're open to selling and they have motivation, creative finance, or even cash. Again, our I don't know what Brent's KPI is, but our KPI is 70% of our conversions, 70% of our conversions come from long-term follow-up, 13 touches or more.
It happened. That's the way in all the things,
Yeah,
even
ours
with
is
us
like-
and agent outreach, even when we're doing, deals with agents, it's still taking 8, 9 follow-ups.
Fade says, up your patience. And that was I think the number one compliment I got yesterday on the seller calls is that people said pace is the king of patience. And if you guys think I talk a lot, wait until you watch me on seller calls. I talk maybe 5% of the conversation. And it's patience, 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 patience until I finally find out the exact thing that seller needs. And that's what happened on that call, is that the seller said, no, 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 no. And then I found out exactly what she wanted by asking enough questions and listening, that I finally provided the solution to her that I did not have. The solution is rarely the price. The solution is rarely the timeline. The solution is, what is the seller trying to accomplish and how can you help them accomplish that?
Yep. One more.
Brent Daniels, this one's for you, brother.
Carson, 17-year-old out of the Midwest, closed his first deal.
Get out of town.
Swear. Yeah, had him on the podcast. Yep. How can I grow a good wholesaling team? Should I hire people with a legitimate EIN, or should I form partnerships with people where I'm giving them a split? Love you guys. Education plus instruction.
You know what I love is he says, should I hire a business?
Right.
Should I hire a business?
Yeah.
Does he want to subcontract or does he want to go directly to the people? Is that what you're saying? You want to do JV deals or do you want to do deals with the LLCs? Is that what he's saying, Brent?
I think that what he's trying to do here is I feel like he's talking about cold callers, to be honest, to grow his wholesaling team. So I'm thinking he's wondering if he should go with something like Start Virtual that is in the company, or do you do an independent contractor off of Upwork or something like that? I always suggest that you have somebody that's managed, somebody that is going to make sure that people show up and do their job. So yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think that you should go with somebody legitimate. But Carson, you aren't even close to hiring somebody yet. Make those calls, brother. Don't you start delegating. I am telling you, it's bad habits. You need to get to that 1,000 contacts. You might be there, but get to those 1,000 contacts before you hire anybody. I want your skills for communication so wildly lopsided compared to every other 17-year-old on planet Earth that you are just taking the world by storm. So put in the work.
Man,
this one out.
What a day. You guys were great.
Yes. All right.
Number 85, guys. 85. Will you be there for 86? Of course you will, but bring a friend.
Yeah.
Guys, we love you. Wholesale Hotline, we out.
We out. Love you guys.
Or just say squat up.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
1, 2, 3.
So squat up and enjoy the show.